At Christmas dinner, my dad said, "You're a burden. You can't live with us anymore." When I packed up and told them I'd stop paying the bills, my mother showed up at my job 37 times in January. I know because security kept a log. Building policy: any visitor who comes to the front desk asking for an employee gets documented. Name, time, reason for visit, outcome, 37 entries, all the same. Margaret Oyeleran, requesting to see Daniel Oyeleran, personal emergency. Employee declined to meet. The security guard, a guy named Marcus, who'd worked the desk for 15 years, finally pulled me aside one afternoon. "Listen, man, I don't know what's going on with your family situation and it's none of my business, but your mom's been crying in the lobby every day for 3 weeks. Whatever happened, maybe you should at least hear her out?" I looked at him. Nice guy. Genuinely concerned. "She told me I was a burden," I said, "on Christmas Day, after I'd been paying every bill in their house for 2 years. Then my dad laughed and told me not to let the door hit me on the way out." Marcus was quiet for a moment. 37 visits isn't enough," he said finally. "Make it 100. He went back to his desk. I went back to my office, and my phone kept buzzing with messages I'd never answer. My name is Daniel Oyeleran, 25 years old, junior accountant at a mid-size firm downtown, $58,000 a year, which sounds like decent money until you realize I'd been supporting a family of 4 on it for 26 months. Let me back up. My dad, Richard, worked at a warehouse distribution center for almost 20 years. Good job. Union benefits. Not glamorous, but stable. The kind of work that lets you raise a family, pay a mortgage, retire with dignity. He got fired in October of 2022. The official reason was workforce reduction, but the real reason was that he'd been showing up late, taking long lunches and mouthing off to supervisors who were half his age. Dad had this thing about respect, thought the world owed him something because he'd worked hard his whole life. The world didn't agree. My mom, Patricia, had been on disability since I was in high school. Fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. Legitimate conditions, genuinely debilitating. Her check was $1,247 a month, which covered her medications, doctor visits, and maybe a few groceries. That was it. My brother Jake was 19, a sophomore at State, home for breaks and summers. He worked a part-time job during the school year. Coffee shop, minimum wage, barely enough to cover his books and beer money. So when Dad lost his job, everyone looked at me. I was the one with the steady income, the one who'd finished his degree on time, gotten a real job, built something stable, the responsible one. "Just until I find something new," Dad said, when he asked me to cover rent. "Couple months, tops. That was 2 years ago. The first few months, I understood. Job markets are tough." Dad was 53, competing against guys half his age for the same warehouse positions. He applied to places, I saw the emails, and got rejected over and over. So, I covered the rent. One night, $800 a month for a 3-bedroom apartment that was too big for them now that I'd technically moved out. Except I hadn't really moved out, because I was sleeping in my childhood bedroom to save money while hemorrhaging cash to keep them afloat. Then I covered the utilities, electric, gas, water, internet, another $400 a month, give or take. Then the groceries. Dad had expensive taste for someone with no income. Name brands, steaks on Saturday, the good beer, $600 a month, easy. Then the car insurance, because Dad refused to sell his truck even though he barely drove it, $180 a month. Then Mom's prescription co-pays when her insurance changed and her out-of-pocket went up, $200 a month. Then Jake's phone bill, because he's in school, Daniel, he needs to stay connected. Then the cable package, because Dad needed something to do while he looked for work. By the time I did the math, I was spending over $3,400 a month on my family, on a take-home salary of about $3,800. I had $400 for myself, for gas, for food, for any semblance of a life, and still, I thought I was doing the right thing. The red flags were there from the beginning, I just didn't want to see them. First flag, Dad stopped applying for jobs around month 4. I noticed the email notifications drying up. No more, "Thank you for your application" messages, no more rejection letters. I asked him about it once, casually, over dinner. "I'm being strategic," he said, "waiting for the right opportunity. No point taking just anything." The right opportunity never came, because he never looked for it. Second flag, the spending never adjusted. When I was broke in college, I ate ramen and walked everywhere and canceled subscriptions I didn't need. When Dad lost his job, he kept buying the same groceries, keeping the same cable package, living the same life, because I was paying for it. Third flag, the entitlement. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, my help became my obligation. "Daniel, the electric bill is due," became, "Daniel, pay the electric bill." Gratitude became expectation. Thank yous became demands. And if I ever hesitated, if I ever mentioned that maybe Dad should sell the truck, or maybe we could downgrade the cable, or maybe they could try to cut back somewhere. "After everything we did for you, we raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head. This is the least you can do." The least I could do was apparently everything. Fourth flag, my girlfriend Sarah could see what I couldn't. "They're using you, Daniel." She said it gently, but firmly. "You're not helping them. You're enabling them. There's a difference. They're my family. Family doesn't mean doormat." I told myself she didn't understand, that she came from a different background, that her family had money, so she didn't know what it was like to struggle. But deep down, down, I knew she was right. I just wasn't ready to admit it. Christmas Day. The moment everything changed. I'd been dreading the holidays for weeks. Money was tighter than ever. I'd had unexpected car repairs in November, and my emergency fund was basically gone. But I still bought gifts, still brought food, still showed up like the good son I was supposed to be. The four of us sat around the table. Turkey, mashed potatoes, the works. I'd paid for all of it, but nobody mentioned that. Nobody ever mentioned it. Dad was in a mood. He'd been drinking since noon, which was normal, but today he was more aggressive about it, more bitter. "You know what I realized this year?" he said, cutting into his turkey with too much force. "This family's gotten too comfortable depending on each other." I didn't respond. Kept eating. "I mean, look at this. We're all just sitting around expecting things to be handed to us. No ambition, no drive." Mom nodded along like she always did. Jake was quiet, focused on his plate, and I just sat there, wondering who exactly Dad was talking about. Himself? Jake? Me? Then he looked directly at me. "Especially you, Daniel." I set down my fork. "Excuse me? You've been living here for 2 years, eating our food, using our electricity, taking up space." He took a long drink of beer. "You're a burden. And honestly, it's time you learned to stand on your own 2 feet." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I've been paying for everything," I said slowly. "Every bill, every grocery run, and you think that gives you the right to just exist here? To act like you own the place?" Dad shook his head. "You're 25 years old. Time to grow up. You can't live here anymore." I looked at Mom. She was nodding, arms crossed. "Your father's right," she said. "You've been acting like you run this household. Maybe it's time you learned some humility." Humility from the woman I'd been supporting for 2 years. I looked at Jake. He was frozen, fork halfway to his mouth, staring at his plate like it held the secrets of the universe. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Nobody was going to defend me. I put down my napkin, stood up slowly. "Okay," I said, "if that's what you want." Dad smirked, this satisfied, triumphant expression that I'd seen 1,000 times before. The look of a man who thought he'd won. "Don't let the door hit you on the way out." I didn't yell, didn't argue, didn't give him the satisfaction. I just walked upstairs and started packing. I could hear them as I filled my duffel bags. Mom's voice carrying up through the floor. "It's about time someone put him in his place." Dad's laugh, that specific dismissive laugh he used when he thought he was superior to someone. Jake's silence, the loudest sound of all. I packed everything that mattered. Clothes, laptop, documents, birth certificate, passport, the folder with all my financial records. Everything else could stay. I didn't need reminders of this place. About an hour later, there was a soft knock on my door. Jake slipped in, closed it behind him. "You're really leaving? What else am I supposed to do? They just kicked me out on Christmas." He sat on the edge of my bed, the same bed I'd slept in since I was 12, the same room where I'd studied for the SATs, applied to colleges, dreamed about a future that didn't look like this. "What about the rent?" he asked quietly. "It's due in 3 days. And the electric bill. Not my problem anymore. They said they don't need my money. Let's see how that works out." His face went completely pale. "Dude, they're gonna lose the apartment. You know they can't afford it without you." Should have thought about that before. I zipped up my bag, looked at my brother. He was 19 years old, caught between parents who'd made him complicit in their dysfunction, and a brother who'd finally had enough. "You're 19. You can come with me if you want. Sarah's place has a couch." He shook his head. "I can't just leave them." "But they can leave me?" He didn't have an answer. Nobody ever does. Sarah didn't say, "I told you so." She just opened her door, helped me carry my bags, and made up the couch with clean sheets. "Stay as long as you need," she said. "We'll figure out the rest." I didn't cry that night, didn't have the energy. Just lay on her couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every payment, every sacrifice I'd made for people who called me a burden. $3,400 a month for 26 months, $8,400 total, almost $90,000 I'd given them. Money I could have saved, invested, used to build my own life, and they threw me out on Christmas because I was taking up space. The math didn't work. The logic didn't work. None of it made sense, but feelings don't follow logic, and the feeling I had, this hollow, aching betrayal, didn't need to make sense to be real. 4 days later, my phone exploded. 37 missed calls, 52 text messages, most from Mom. "Call me now. This is an emergency. The landlord posted an eviction notice. Your father needs to talk to you. Please, we need $2,400 by tomorrow. The power company is shutting us off." I read every single message, watched the progression from angry to panicked to desperate, watched my father's voice change from the man who laughed in my face to someone I barely recognized. "You're really going to let your family become homeless? What kind of son are you?" "The kind you raised, I guess." I typed one response. "You said you didn't need my money. Figure it out." Then I muted the conversation. Jake texted me separately that night. "They're freaking out. Mom's crying. Dad's punching walls. This is bad. I'm sorry you're caught in this, but they did this, not me. Can't you just help them this one time? Get them through this month? And then what? Next month? And the month after that? For how long, Jake? I don't know, but they're scared. They should have thought about that before they called me a burden and kicked me out." He didn't respond for a long time. Then, "I don't know what to do. Neither do I. But I know what I'm not doing anymore." The landlord filed formal eviction proceedings on January 3rd. I know because my parents' lawyer, some guy named Gerald Adeyemi, family law specialist, 20 years of practice, reached out to me trying to negotiate negotiate. Mr. Oyalaran, I understand there's been a family disagreement, but your parents are facing imminent homelessness. If you could contribute to 1 month's rent while they explore other options. Did my father hire you? Your mother, actually. Did my father apologize? Silence. That's what I thought. This conversation is over. I hung up. The eviction went through on January 28th. Standard 30-day notice. My parents had until February 27th to vacate. They called. They texted. They showed up at my job. I didn't respond to any of it. The confrontation with my mom in the parking lot happened on a Tuesday. She looked terrible. Hadn't slept. Makeup smeared. Shaking. She grabbed my arm before I could get to the building entrance. Please, she said. We're going to be homeless. Your father was wrong. He knows that now. He's sorry. Where is he then? She didn't answer. That's what I thought. He's not sorry. He's just desperate. There's a difference. He's proud. You know how he is. Too proud to apologize, but not too proud to beg through you? She started crying. Right there in the parking lot. January cold. Tears freezing on her cheeks. What do you want from us? I looked at my mother. The woman who'd raised me, fed me, taken care of me when I was sick. The woman I'd spent 2 years supporting, sacrificing for, doing everything I could to protect. The woman who'd stood next to my father on Christmas Day and told me I needed to learn humility. Nothing, I said. Not anymore. They moved out of the apartment in late February. I learned most of this secondhand from Jake, who was trying desperately to remain neutral in an impossible situation. They couldn't find a new place. No savings, no income, no rental history that didn't end in eviction. Dad's brother took them in. Uncle Marcus, who lived 3 hours away in a small town where nothing happened, and opportunities were even scarcer than in the city. It's temporary, Jake told me over the phone, just until they get back on their feet. Your father's been saying that for 2 years. I know, but what else can I do? Focus on school. Get your degree. Don't let them drag you down the way they dragged me. He was quiet for a long moment. Do you hate them? I thought about it. Really thought. No, I don't hate them. I'm just done. There's a difference. 3 months later, Dad finally called me himself. Not to apologize. Never to apologize. Your mother is sick, he said without preamble. Her condition is getting worse. The stress has been too much. The doctors say, I'm sorry to hear that. That's it? You're sorry to hear that? What do you want me to say, Dad? I want you to act like a son. Come see her. Help us. I was acting like a son for 2 years, and you called me a burden and kicked me out. That was a misunderstanding. No, Dad. A misunderstanding is forgetting someone's birthday. What you did was calculated. You looked me in the eye on Christmas Day and told me I didn't belong in my own family, and Mom agreed, and you laughed about it. He was silent. I've replayed that conversation 1,000 times, trying to find another interpretation, trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I can't, because you meant every word. Daniel, I hope Mom gets better, I really do, but I can't be your safety net anymore. You made that choice, not me. I hung up. I haven't spoken to him since. Sarah and I got our own place in April, a 1-bedroom apartment on the north side of the city. Not fancy, but ours. I could finally start saving money, building a future, living like a 25-year-old instead of a one-man welfare system. The first month's rent was $1,400, less than half what I'd been paying for my parents. I sat on our couch, in our apartment, and felt something I hadn't felt in years, free. Jake graduated in May. I went to the ceremony, sat in the back, watched him walk across the stage, felt proud of him, despite everything. Afterward, we got coffee at a place near campus. Mom and Dad wanted to come, he said, but they didn't think you'd want to see them. They were right. They're still at Uncle Marcus's. Dad's doing odd jobs. Mom's the same, maybe a little worse. He stirred his coffee. They talk about you a lot. Good things? Mixed. Dad still thinks you overreacted. Mom mostly just misses you. And you? What do you think? He was quiet for a long time. I think they treated you like garbage, and you were the only one holding everything together. I think they got what they deserved. And I think I should have said something that night instead of just sitting there. I looked at my little brother, 19 years old when this started, 20 now, adult enough to see the truth, even if he hadn't been brave enough to act on it. You were a kid. You didn't know what to do. I'm not a kid anymore. No, you're not. We finished our coffee in silence. Then he stood up, reached into his bag, and pulled out an envelope. What's this? Graduation money from Grandma's estate? Everyone got some. He pushed it toward me. Yours. I opened it. A check for $5,000 made out to me. Mom tried to cash it, Jake said. Said you'd abandoned the family so you didn't deserve it. But it was in your name. She couldn't. $5,000. More than a month's worth of the money I'd been giving them. Take it, Jake said. You earned it, even if they'll never admit it. It's been 2 years now. Sarah and I are still together. We bought a condo last spring. Actual ownership, actual equity, an actual future. I got promoted twice. I'm making almost $80,000 now, and all of it stays with me. Jake's in grad school, computer science. He's doing well, building his own life, slowly extracting himself from the orbit of our parents' chaos. Mom and Dad are still at Uncle Marcus's house. From what Jake tells me, nothing's changed. Dad still hasn't found steady work. Mom's health fluctuates. They've become permanent dependents, just not on me anymore. I got a letter from my father about 6 months ago, handwritten, 3 pages long. He didn't apologize. He explained, justified, contextualized. He talked about his own childhood, his own struggles, how he never meant things to turn out this way, how I'd misunderstood his intentions on Christmas, how families need to stick together and forgive. Not once did he say the words, "I'm sorry." Not once did he acknowledge that what he did was wrong. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer and didn't respond. People ask me sometimes if I feel guilty. If abandoning my parents, that's how they frame it. Abandoning keeps me up at night. Here's what I tell them. I didn't abandon anyone. I removed myself from a situation where I was giving everything and getting nothing. Where my sacrifice was expected, my presence was resented, and my humanity was denied. My parents made a choice on Christmas Day. They looked at their son, the one who'd paid their bills, kept their lights on, put food on their table for 2 years, and decided he was a burden. I'm not a burden anymore. I'm free. And if that makes me the bad guy in their story, so be it. I'm not living in their story anymore. Last month, I got a voicemail from my mother. First contact in almost a year. Her voice was older, tired, fragile in a way that tugged at something deep in my chest. "Daniel, it's Mom. I know you don't want to hear from us. I know we hurt you. Your father, he's stubborn. He'll never say it, but I know he regrets what happened." A long pause. "I regret it too, every day. We were wrong. You weren't a burden. You were the only reason we survived as long as we did. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Another pause. "I understand if you never want to talk to us again, but I needed you to know. Whatever happens, I love you. I always did. I was just too stupid to show it." The voicemail ended. I sat there for a long time, phone in my hand, not sure what to feel. She apologized after 2 years of silence, after 37 visits to my workplace, after everything. She finally said the words. I haven't called her back. Not yet. Maybe someday. When the wound isn't quite so raw. When I've built enough distance to engage without getting pulled back in. When I trust that the apology is real and not just another manipulation. But for now, I'm focused on my life, my future. The person I'm becoming now that I'm not weighed down by people who called me a burden while I carried them. Sarah thinks I should give them another chance. People can change, she says. And she did apologize. Maybe she's right. Maybe people can change. But I've learned something important in the past 2 years. Just because you can forgive someone doesn't mean you have to let them back in. Just because someone's sorry doesn't mean you owe them another chance to hurt you. My parents made their choice on Christmas Day. I made mine every day since, and I'm not sorry for any of it.